unprecedented spend in League One this summer, largely by one club, because Wrexham's transfer activity completely dwarfed by Birmingham City. Watch out, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. You've got a bit of competition from American owners and Tom Brady, the NFL superstar, of course. I mean, they were the story of the window, weren't they? A summer spend, the likes of which we've just never seen before. A reported wage bill now of £16 million. And these are just some of the signings, the notable signings we've picked out. There were 17 new faces in total. 3 times they broke the League One record. Of course, it was headlined by the deadline day arrival of Jay Stansfield from Premier League Fulham, with add-ons, some reports suggesting it could ultimately get to £20 million. There is some discrepancy over the true fee there. But, I mean, Courtney, does investment on such a staggering scale, it's around £30 million they've spent over the summer, around about, does that essentially guarantee they go up this season?
No. Not at all. It doesn't guarantee it. It very much puts a target on their back because everyone's going, now you've spent 30 million in League One, you have to go up. But I don't think it guarantees it. As Joby said, you've got to get the right characters in the building. It's got to be done in the right way. Just because you spend money, it's not an automatic. It needs to be spent well. And it's like, I'm not saying Jay Stansfield isn't a good player, but you're looking at that sort of money and then you're thinking Chiesa's going to Liverpool for 10 million plus add-ons, 12 million. So it's a big fee, one. Again, as I said, for the club, it puts a target on your back. And for that player as well, it's an automatic. You have to score goals. You have to perform. Now, it's how do you deal with that pressure? And almost going back to Wrexham, they're a little bit used to it. Wrexham, Hollywood money, the TV show that follows them round. But they've got a group of players that are used to that. It'll be interesting to see how this group of players deal with that. And I think for Birmingham, it's been an interesting one because initially the new owners go in, they sort the ground out and they had a lot of credit in the bank. But then, a couple of silly decisions with managers. And getting relegated. And I don't think there's quite that credit in the bank that they had now with the fans. So the long and the short of it is they have to perform. And in terms of the danger that they're putting themselves in, if they don't go up this season, how does that impact them going forward?
Well, that's the question, isn't it, Jamie? Because, they've clearly got big financial backing from the consortium that owns them now. But, how many clubs have we seen, and the moral of the story has been to go into difficulties for reaching the stars, trying to reach the stars, and it all comes tumbling down. What if they don't go up this season? What are the implications?
Well, the worry you have is they've got themselves in this position financially before, and it seems like it's just been gone all the way back to the start, and they're doing it again. From my point of view, you don't have to spend that amount of money on one player to get out of League One. I just don't understand why you think that. I think you can... Joby touched on it with Wrexham, where they've got a really good philosophy. They've kept the manager, so they're very stable. And I think they've added players who would enhance their squad in League One and take the steps. I think that if you've got a big budget, you can get better players in. But to throw that much money to then go and win the league, I don't think you have to. I think the coach they've got in now, I've watched them play this season a couple of times, and they were excellent. They've got a very clear identity. They have to take a lot of responsibility on the ball. I worry throughout the season if they can do that the whole time, and I think teams might be able to pick them off, especially when there's not as much pressure on them. So I don't quite get it, Jules. I'm honest. It's a huge amount of money in League One.
I think they had to be honest, I think they had to rebuild. And I get that. I mean, listen, it's an obscene amount of money that they're spending in League One, but they had to rebuild. The club was in a mess. And I think it took them to get relegated to actually find out where they've got to go. And I think, listen, if they don't go up this season, obviously...
But is that worth the risk then, Lee? Because, well, yes, they have to rebuild, but we are talking about a League One team, with the greatest respect.
Yeah, I know.
You don't need to sign players for 20 million quid to get promoted, and I think Alfie May is a prime example of that, where top player for the league in terms of his goal scoring in the last few seasons. You go and spend whatever you do on him. It's not going to bankrupt the football club. I mean, £20 million players in League One could do eventually. Or does it take them outside of the spending regulation? So, again, for me, it's a risk. He's a top player. Do not get me wrong, and I think he will score goals. But that amount of an outlay, it just puts everything into a situation
that... as well, like it's specifically on one player. If they'd spent that and then bolstered the squad across and brought a lot more players in...
He could get injured, you don't know, do you?
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's the main thing. And it's not necessarily on him as a player, it's just that amount of money on one player in League One is a massive...
So why would they do that? Because they'll have known that we're talking about it, everyone's talking about it. It has brought incredible headlines since deadline day onto the club. So why would they decide that is the strategy they want to spend so much?
I actually think they believe that they've got the right man in charge. They've brought the right players and personnel into the football club. And as a whole, I'm not just talking about the football club. I'm talking about the fans. They actually believe that what they've bought in is a lot better than what they've had to take them out of League One and back into the Championship. Listen, we can all believe, can't we? But if you're laying down 15 million for one player, and I totally agree with you. There could be 3-4 players.
You
know, they brought the likes of Lyndon Dykes in. They bought
you get 10 good players in League One for that money, Jules.
But is that the answer to getting you out of League One? No, I don't think it is.
It's a gamble. There's no two ways about it.
There's lots of clubs that have done it. Bolton tried to sort of build from where they've gone down and bring players in, and they're still in League One.
It's certainly not a shoo-in that they go and win this league. With how competitive, we've just gone through how competitive it is. I saw the odds there. Wrexham at 10-1, early odds, and I know they're just odds, but you've looked at how competitive it is with that. Again, all it's done is taken all the pressure off all the other clubs, and they're going. We can adjust.
So they have got to produce. They really have got to produce with the money that they bought and the belief that they have in the football club. They have to produce. And
massive game next week, by the way. Wrexham, Birmingham. Yeah. Massive game.
Yeah. As I said, look at December time, and then I think we're having a different conversation.
Stansfield scored 20 by.
Yeah, I think he'll be in the England squad because Carzo had even.
This is the thing.